look at this Tarzan-like bunch of lads and you can understand why all the nice girls love a sailor. But the feeling is apparently mutual. At Leon Solent, men of the Fleet Air Arm, train of the toughest competitions in the world, the Royal Naval Field Gun Tournament, have invited their mascots to come and watch them. And the mascots are what you might imagine sailors to choose, half a dozen assorted glamour girls from London's Windmill Theatre. A team of 50, cut to 18 for the tournament, practice swinging 150 pounds of field gun with two-wheeled limber across a 30-foot wide chasm, and manhandling them over and under all manner of obstacles in a race against time. But movement perfect though they are, the lads are prepared to take a few tips from their mascots, for Sadie Comben, the brunette, and Wendy Clark already have an acrobatic and trapeze act of their own. Of course, there's quite a gun across as well, but one has to admit it looks more graceful this way. By the way, in case you recognize some of your pin-ups, the other girls are Pat Patterson, Gillian Larrabee, Mickey Allen, and Norrie Dare. Incidentally, the girls were selected for this reciprocal adoption scheme by secret ballot, and the 6 chosen will act as special hosts when the lads in their turn go backstage at the theatre. You need to be fit for this sort of thing, and of course with their regular rehearsals, the girls are all right on this score. Although the sailors can go one better, they're on a special diet too, with plenty of milk and extra food. During this period, they think nothing of practicing 7 times a day, so they really deserve this lighter relief, and the silent service being what it is, the party goes off with a bang.
run between Devonport and the Fleet Air Arm is expected to be the best of the whole tournament. So while the arena is being set, we'll give you a very privileged glimpse. You can't do this sort of thing if you're in the audience here, you know. A privileged glimpse behind the scenes where we join Keith Fordyce.
And the two representatives here are leading airman Mike Foster of the Fleet Air Arm and leading seaman Peter James of Devonport. Peter James, you have another prowess in sport, haven't you?
Yes, I've done boxing. I've boxed this my sport.
Not just box, you've won the titles, haven't you?
I did. Won the Navy title 5 times.
As a heavyweight?
As a heavyweight.
Well, you should be well off for this sport anyhow.
Tell me the world of good, this.
And tell me, Mike, this is a vital match tonight in the series, isn't it?
Well, a turning point, okay, well, the final one between us, I mean, we don't run again. The last time we run together, and if we win, we stand to draw, but if we lose, well, they just about day, I should say.
So far, you've met how many times?
Well, 3 times, we've won twice.
Fleet Air Arm's won twice,
Yes.
Devonport once. You going to pull that right tonight?
Oh, definitely, I think so.
You sure?
I think so.
What do you say to that?
You'll have to try harder. Better than last time.
If you draw, what are you drawing for? It's a cup, isn't it?
Well, it's the points cut. The aggregate, they have a lead on this with 30 seconds.
Yes.
34 seconds. 34.
Matter of pride, 4 seconds. And there's another cup, isn't there, for the fastest time altogether?
Well, they hold the fastest time with a 3 minutes 10 seconds.
That's an all-time record, isn't it? Set up this week?
This week, yes. It's the best done in Earl's Court, but we've done a 3-8 then when we're pitching for us now on pitching practice.
You've done 3-8. You're going to repeat that tonight?
I think maybe we stand a good chance. I think as we do better, it's all right.
What's the fastest time you've done in practice?
Oh, 3:10.
3:10. So you think you can equal their record?
Oh, yes, definitely.
What's this Oggy cry? Is it your best girlfriend or something like that?
No, it's a cry they use in the West Country, an oggy.
Yes, sure.
They call it a tiddly oggy, and so they've adopted it as a war cry, oggy, oggy, oggy.
Have you got a war cry for the Fleet Air Arm?
Well, we get enough fun shouting for us, but I didn't say there's any definite.
But you expect to hear the shouting when you get out there?
Well, I'll definitely shout tonight.
Wonderful. And when you get out there, what's it feel like? Terrifying?
No, it's all right, but you get kind of butterflies in your stomach. You're a little nervous, it's not terrifying, it's a fun experience to be out there, though.
How long have you spent training for it?
About 4.5 months.
Have you, as long as that?
Quite a time, yeah.
And when you're training for this, are you volunteers or specially selected?
Well, you have to be selected, you have to volunteer, and then you select from about 300 blokes that go down to be eliminated.
Which is the favourite team, then? Is it Devonport? You've won a lot of times since the war, I believe.
Well, I don't know a lot of, I was going to say 6 or 7. From 47 onwards, they've got a cup nearly every year.
Yeah.
Apart from 56, and we won that.
That's really Devonport is the leading team at the moment. But the Fleet Air Arm hasn't been in this for long.
Well, since 47, we've won all 3 cups about twice. We've had a couple of other cups.
Well, it's a very good start in a short run, isn't it?
I must give them that, they're doing very well again.
You give them that. I believe that really Portsmouth and Chatham are out of it now, even despite tomorrow's competition.
I've got to go now.
Well, goodbye, and good luck to one, and I'll get to the other, and let battle commence.
Ready to march in. Shortly, the bugle will sound, and then they will come.
Tonight taking the salute was the Lieutenant General commanding the General Commandant of the Royal Marines, Lieutenant General Richards. And tonight is Corps Night, because from all over the country, Royal Marines have come to be here to support their corps. Many swells to the roof of Earl's Court and the shouts go up. Oggy on this side for Devonport and Air for Fleet Air Arm on the far side of the arena, remember, as you're looking at it. So the excitement mounts for this needle match. At the moment, they're outwardly, at any rate, composed and calm. But in a moment, they'll be really moving, because this is one of the most rigorous tests anybody could go through. Fleet Air Arm on the far side, Devonport this side. And now, as we look down, you can see the outline of the thing. The two gun crews race, you see, from the starting line where they are at the moment. And they come over this first wall, near to you, and across the chasm in the middle of the arena, they mustn't touch the bottom there, to the second wall, where they assemble the gun and fire 3 rounds. Then, on a signal, they race back. So they await the firing, the bugle call and a thunder flash, and then they're off. The crews have brought themselves present to Lieutenant Commander Barton, who returns the officer's salute, the second officer's, and he strikes the thunder flash, tosses it on the ground, waits for the bugle and the bang, and they're off. Go over comes the barrel, and the moment Devonport seem to be slightly ahead. They're getting the sheer legs up come the sheer legs. Oh, Air have got their sheer legs up, and they're swinging over the chasm and nearly touched there. He's disqualified if he touches, but he's made it. Here comes Devonport, they're over now. The pulley's coming on. The pulley's on, and over go Fleet Air Arm wheels, followed closely by Devonport's wheels. Just about a dead heat at the moment. Very, very little in it. Back again. Here comes the gun carriage itself. Fleet Air Arm are ahead with the gun carriage. Here comes Devonport on this side. What's to come now? The gun barrel. 2 Matlows riding over on the barrel. The barrel's over. Put it onto the gun carriage, which is mounted. We've got to put it together again, wheel it down to the wall. And to get it through the hole in the wall, off with the barrel. Who's going to get these 3 rounds fired first? Pretty even. I should think it's going to be almost simultaneous. They swing the gun. Devonport have got their gun ready. They're going to fire. Well, that was pretty close, pretty close. Clocks are almost identical. One minute, 39 seconds there.
You may have gained the impression, due to the apparent ease with which the equipment surmounts the obstacles, that the guns and limber are light. Indeed, they're not. The gun and limber together weigh about 1 ton.
Now you can see the officers and the petty officers checking every detail, not only of the timing, but of the equipment, because any faults, if anything's been left unclipped that should have been clipped up to make for a quick getaway, then they're penalized and time is added. If a team is disqualified, they're given an automatic time of 5 minutes. The bugle sounds and they're off again. Here they come again. Over with the limber. One crash as both limbers hit the ground together. Air have got their wheels over quicker. Here comes the limber. Air are slightly in the lead at the moment. The 2 barrels, well, they're absolutely side by side, as you can see. Over come the last pair of wheels. My goodness, this really is neck and neck. Devonport are a little bit behind there. Down come the spar legs.
crews are now preparing their gear for the final run home out of action. They've completed 185 of the total 212-yard course. The fastest run ever achieved at Earl's Court was 3 minutes, 10 seconds by Devonport on Saturday evening.
Over on the far side there, you can see notes being taken, points being checked, and crews being reported ready. The bugle will sound and they're off for the last lap. And away they go. Through the wall, dismantle the gun carriage, reassemble, and round to the start line here. Air leading very slightly still. Here they come. It looks to me as though Air have it. It looks as though Air have it. Yes. Naval crew line up to salute to the Royal Box. There's tremendous competition to get into these teams. You know, every one of these sailors has been picked from over 30 volunteers.
3 minutes, 10 and 2/5 seconds.
And returning this salute is Lieutenant General Riches, Commandant General of the Royal Marines. Well, the final times there were Devonport, 3 minutes, 14 and 2/5 seconds, and Fleet Air Arm, 3 minutes, 10 and 2/5 seconds. My goodness me, it's pretty close. They're taking the guns out of the arena. A good job, very well done. The weapon is obsolete, but the competition and its aim is a means of selecting and encouraging men who have that fitness and the strength and the keen intelligence and initiative that's so much needed to man the scientific ships of the nuclear navy that's growing so rapidly and that
Tournament is the Naval Field Gun Contest. Teams drawn from the fittest, toughest men in the Navy train unsparingly for the event. This Herculean race to dismantle and transport a field gun over tremendous obstacles, reassemble and fire it, can truly be called the sport of men.
1, 2, 3, 4. Stand by.
Where were you?
I was keeping well out of the way.
Well, if you want to see a really great battle of the field gun race, you can on July the 9th at the Royal Tournament at Earl's Court, and it's between the Fleet Air Arm and the Royal Navy, and it should be great.
And if you can't get down into London, it will be on television, so you'll probably enjoy that. 1 month from today, the Royal Tournament opens at London's Earl's Court. One of the most exciting events there is certain to be the dramatic field gun race. Now, this commemorates a battle that took place in the Boer War 70 years ago. The Navy removed the guns from the ships, carried them over rough country and over gaping chasms to help relieve the British Army at the siege of Ladysmith. Ever since then, the Navy has held these field gun races, and the Fleet Air Arm joined them in 1947. John and I went down to Lyon Solent to see just how the Fleet Air Arm trains its team.
There are 50 men in the field gun crew, 2 full teams and 14 reserves. It seemed an awful lot, but when the gunners explained how many had retired recently with broken legs, squashed fingers and gashed heads, we began to understand why. Petty Officer George Gillam, the second team trainer, told us to stand fast until we heard the starting signal. The gun had to be carried over the home wall, across a vast chasm and through the enemy wall on the other side. Once we got there, we had to fire 3 rounds at the enemy. The wheels followed the gun over the home wall, then it was our turn. The next obstacle to cross was the 28-foot wide chasm. When we reached the brink of the chasm, huge sheer legs were erected to get the equipment across the yawning abyss. There wasn't really a chasm there at all, but anyone putting a foot on the ground would get his whole team penalised. The first man across caught a solid wooden spar, so we went over to see what it was for. As we swung across, we had to climb up the rope to make sure our feet were clear of the ground.
John, what's this for?
Just to support the wire.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. I thought it was for me to slap into for a moment.
Oh, let's go see the gun going.
Stop! Can't cross, that's a bottomless chasm. Go up there and we'll share the way to get across.
The wire was now hitched over the spar, ready for use.
Just hang on, one on each side.
Yeah.
One here and there. That's right. Okay.
Right, here we go.
Get the wheels across, you come on.
John and I might have just managed to lift the wheels, but we certainly couldn't have hung on to the traveller at the same time. Up onto the home ramp, the carriage was hauled across the chasm.
Go!
That was the moment to watch your fingers as 300 weight of gun carriage smashed into the wooden spar. But next came the heaviest piece of all, the barrel, weighing as much as a small car. The gun itself was now complete on the enemy side of the chasm, but this vital piece of equipment still waiting to cross. This was the limber, 2 metal boxes on a frame which contained the ammunition for the gun. If you get yourself caught between the limb and the spar, you don't do it a second time. We were the last to cross. Ahead of us, we could see the final obstacle, a breach in the enemy wall. The gun had been reassembled for the run to the wall, but we had to take it apart again to get it through the hole.
Watch it. Oh. Let's go.
The gun could not be fired until the limber was in position and everyone was at action stations.
Thank goodness that's over.
Over. You got to get back yet.
The next order was for a full dress rehearsal.
Notes to A crew, Purvis to B crew.
As Purvis assembles Team B round their gun, Noakes leads the Fleet Air Arm A team to their side of the course. The atmosphere here is very tense as everyone waits for the bugler to play the advance. And they're off. Both teams are to a good start. There's nothing to choose between them, but there's an awful long way to go. B team are taking the first bender to tremendous pace, and it looks as if Team A just have the edge. Don't drop it! It's up to 30 seconds can be added to a team's time for any errors at the walls. The leading men are doing very well. Both sets of sheer legs and spars are up. A team are still fractionally ahead. Speed is essential here, but neither team can afford to make a mistake. If anything vital falls into the cast, immediately disqualified. But no one's dropped anything yet, and it looks to me as though A team have fallen back a bit. They said Noakes would be a handicap. Can B team keep this up? Just the enemy wall to get through now, and they'll be firing the first action. This really is very fast. It could be a record run. And it's B team. How close can you get? Away they go on the run back. No music this time, just sheer effort. Both teams are going to hit the wall together. It's their feet they've got to watch for this time. The first pairs are neck and neck across the chasm. And here come those limbers again. They're making it look very easy. Those boxes are very heavy. More haste, less speed, they say, but this must be the exception. Onto the travellers again. I hate to see one of those cables snap. I think B team are having problems with their gun. Perhaps Purvis has dropped something. Yes, A team are clearly getting their gun over the chasm first. The others are trying very hard, but they've got to make up a lot of ground. That's the last really heavy piece of gun to come over this side. There must be almost 5 seconds separating the teams now, and that's an enormous lead in a race this fast. But Team B are starting to put the pressure on, but I can't see them catching up now. All the way, Team A, you're nearly there. That's their last man across. Now, everyone down for the rear guard action. Come on, Team B, where are you? Oh, it's really an enormous gap. Now for the chase home.
This whole business started over 70 years ago. When the South African War broke out, the small British garrison in South Africa found itself outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and outgunned by the Boers. And the situation was getting grave in Ladysmith. And the last telegram that the General Officer Commanding was able to transmit was to the CNC, South Africa station, saying, for heaven's sake, send us some naval guns. Well, the Admiral gave his orders to Captain Scott in HMS Powerful, and very shortly, the guns from HMS Powerful and HMS Terrible were being offloaded at Durban. Now, on board, of course, they're in fixed mountings, and it became the lot of the ship's company to prepare the guns so that they could be mobile to go up to Ladysmith. And this they did in a very short while with local resources. They were fitted with wheels from ox wagons, and then dragged by teams of oxen, the contingent set off. There were no proper roads, there were rivers to cross, there were chasms to traverse, there were mountains to climb and mountains to descend. And when the oxen died or fell down exhausted, then the guns' crews manned the drag ropes and hauled the guns over the obstacles. This episode of naval guns going to the aid of the army fired the imagination of the British public. And in 1907, crews from the main naval ports started competing in the field gun competition. The layout of the course, it was an attempt to reproduce something of the hazards and the difficulties that those guns crews had to surmount on their way to Ladysmith. And the competition, except for the war years, has remained much the same ever since 1907.
This is one of the Fleet Air Arms shore stations near Portsmouth. During their training, the men must learn to lift the weight of a saloon car, to handle a gun barrel and carriage, that's the weight of 8 people, and to carry a wheel weighing 8 stone. Soon, these men will compete against other naval teams in London at the Royal Tournament. But this film is an impression of the training undertaken by these men over a period of 4 months.
one. 10 there. 9 and 2 carrots.
Didn't catch it better, that was half the trouble. And a slip had a wooden slip. Got stuck. Just for the limber. Got stuck.
Bad wheel by Sean. Well set in the wheels on. You had a bad wheel through the hole, didn't you, Sean? No. 7 4-limber wheels on. Best today. 11 4-gun wheels on. Best today. 12 3-button up. Best today. 4 and 1 actually 9 3 equal to best. Best on this side. 8 dead limber, 9 1-gun. I think the button up took them all by 9 and 2 guns. 7 and 3 carrots. 6 and 2 7. 7 and 3 angels. 5 and 4. Took them all by so much by 2 lines. Lost it in this go.
We got 3, 4 fire. 1, 3, 4. And 6 red finish. 1, 6, 10. You down and fire.
Stand up.
your mother at all. On today's Vanessa, I'll be talking to women who've looked at their mothers and asked, Mum, who are you? Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello and welcome to the show. How would you...
Train times are now the quickest they have been all season, and as the sun sets over Daedalus, the men are already anticipating the forthcoming competition which has its roots in 19th century South Africa. The naval guns have a proud and practical history. During the Boer War, the army requested help to defend the township of Ladysmith in the Natal. 4.7-inch guns were transferred from HMS Doris to HMS Powerful, and they were landed at Durban along with the guns from the Terrible. From there, the gun crews were compelled to journey 189 miles to Ladysmith with an assortment of artillery pieces. The largest of these guns were huge and permanently fixed, but they were made mobile by the use of hastily constructed carts pulled by teams of oxen. The oxen proved less hardy than the sailors, and as they became exhausted or defective, the gun crews grabbed the drag ropes and manhandled the guns over mountains, rivers and chasms, fortified by the ample supplies of oxen meat. The inhospitable terrain and even more inhospitable Boer raiders relentlessly took their toll. But the crews eventually overcame all obstacles to arrive at their beleaguered destination. The siege lasted 120 days, during which time the naval guns heroically kept the enemy at bay. This caught the imagination of the public, and when HMS Powerful returned to Portsmouth, the gun crews were treated as heroes. So it was that in 1907, a field gun competition was devised, using smaller guns and obstacles to represent some of the hazards of that historic trek. These early photographs are of the field gun crews in 1908 and 1911. The original pattern of the course has been somewhat modified over the years and now consists of a 5-foot home wall, a bottomless chasm, 28 feet wide with a ramp on each side, and an enemy wall, also 5 feet high. The task is quite simple. All you have to do is to move one of these, and one of these, with 18 of these. Easy. But when you have to get them all over a 28-foot bottomless chasm, then squeeze them through a 2-foot wide hole and fire 3 shots at the enemy, it becomes a little more difficult. And when you bring them back and fire 3 more shots before going through another 2-foot hole, reassemble the gun and limber and drag them away, it becomes even more difficult. And to do all this in less time than I have just taken to relate the field gun's history is virtually impossible. Or is it? It is impossible to demonstrate how strong these men are and how complicated their actions become during a run. However, let's join a training session on the track and obtain a flavor of just what is involved. The buffer will talk us through a training drill.
Right, the limb home wall, 14 and 16 on the drag ropes and 18 at the rear. They pull in the ropes and throw them over. 12 and 13 are on the slats. 13 pulls the slat round and climbs the wall. He controls the angle of the slat poles. 14 and 16 lift it over and leap across and prepare the rig. Next over's the gun. 1 and 2 on the back, that's the heavy end. 3 and 4 shed the wheels and go to the axles for the launch. 1 gives a lift on the back, 1 and 2 make the lift, 3 and 4 lift and drive. 5 and 6 lift the trail, then they go over and push on the axles. And the gun goes over. 3 and 6 throw a wheel over, 1 and 4 throws a wheel over, 2 and 5 collect the wheels and reassemble the limber. Okay, let's see it again. The gun's steered around the corner by 5 and 6 at the front, and as the wheels are shrugged off, the weight of 1,250 pounds driven over, the main push coming from 3 and 4. 1 controls the lift when he sees everyone else in position. Going close, the other one's off. Then pour over, and in seconds they start erecting the rig. 10 throws up the 28 foot and 11 attaches a rope whilst the heel fittings put on the back by 9. 17 takes the back of the 28 foot 100 pound spar. 16 and 18 break out the mushrooms and the shear legs pushed up. 12 holds the bottle and the leg in on the far side. 10 holds it on this side. I don't know, there's so much that goes on here. Again, 8 puts the necklace over the legs and 10 throws the leg over. As it goes up, the mushrooms go under the edge of the ramp at the rear of the 28 foot. And they secure the whole structure. The 28 foot goes in across to the sheer legs, and at this stage they're ready to swing. 16 puts the left mushroom in and shouts left. 8 shouts swing, because he knows he's got his mushroom in. 1 took the martingale, which is a bracket halfway down the back leg. It's a wire from the necklace and across the sheer legs, and it prevents the whole rig toppling forward. And 17 holds the whole lot under tension. Okay, 11, 15 the first and second swings, 15 carries the wire and 9 swings a 10 foot over. 11 erects it, while 15 secures the wire. The 28 foot's withdrawn, 17, 18, 7 and 16 lift back the rig. Each leg is 170 pounds and they place them in the shoes that should be set out by 12 and 13. The wire goes up and 13 bottles up on the screw at the back of the wire, making sure the wire's taut. 3 and 4 take the wheels for limber, pick them up, go between the legs up the ramp, get the position for the traveller, shout to go, and 10 hangs on the back. They go across and shed the wheels at the other end. The carriage is boxed around the limber on the royal side. They pull it between the legs, and when it gets there, they break the gun from the carriage. Get into position, and with 1 and 16 on the heavy breech end, and 2 and 12 on the far side, they place it on the ramp. That's damn heavy.
We went through this yesterday about a year ago.
The carriage wheels are shed, and it's turned. Driven up the ramp, and it's attached to the traveller by 5. 5, 6, 7 and 18 go across with it. 6 slips the carriage on the enemy ramp, and more turns on the box and the traveller returns. The carriage is lifted and the wheels put back on. The trail's dropped and they wait for the barrel. The traveller's attached by 1, and he and 2 go across on the barrel. 1 slips it on the enemy ramp, 2 jumps off and runs into the trail. The barrel's launched into the carriage with 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, next the gun wheels. 14 and 16 go up, they get their handholds ready. 14 gives a go, because he's normally the last one there. They shed their wheels and bowl them right through the enemy wall, and that's no mean feat. 8 and 7 follow them through, and they await the gun. Okay, the limber, 13 and 17 lift, and are then assisted by 12 and 18 who come back and take their positions up. They drive it up the home ramp. 13 hooks it on. They all climb on, and off they go. It weighs 350 pounds, and the slap's got to be steered around the 10 foot. Right, the enemy hole. 1's already through with a spike. 2 puts the trail in the hole. 3 and 4 take the wheels off. 8 spikes and turns the gun. Whilst 8, 5, 6 and 15 take the weight. 3 and 4 push the wheels through. 14 and 16 put the gun wheels on, and the gun goes to the action line. 1's got to take the spike out the barrel before it's fired. This is followed by the limber. 10 gives a turn, 18 drags it, 13 and 17 help throw it through the hole where it's lifted and the previous gun wheels are now placed on it. The pins are put in and it's driven hard down to the action line. On the down and fire, 7 closes the breech and fires the first shell. 2 then extracts it and puts the second one in. 7 fires that, 2 extracts, and 7 takes the last one for the top of the gun, loads and fires. Okay, the run back. Right, go. 11 and 15 jump the wall, and there's 9 throws to spike. They all run way up the enemy ramp, latch onto the traveller, big kick, and then they send the traveller back. Right, the limber turn, 8, 9, 17 and 12 and 13 on the front, driven to the wall, throw the pins off the wheels, lift it over, and it's trapped on the other side. The gun. 5 and 6 take the trail, 14 and 16 on the axles. They shed the wheels, launch, push it over with 7 controls on the far side. The wheels follow and reassemble while resting on the wall. Once the limber's over, 4 men lift it, 3 and 4 remove the wheels and run back to the enemy ramp, each carrying a 120-pound wheel. 3 gives the go, because he's the last on the traveller. The limber follows closely with 10, 12, 13 and 17. They lift the axle around the 10 foot. 13 hooks it on. The go's driven and away they go. 17 gives a slip on home ramp. 3 men then carry it all the way to the second action. Now the gun's driven up the enemy ramp as fast as they can. 7, 8 on the axle, 14, 16 driving hard, 5 and 6 at the back. One puts the trail down and 18 puts the mud spike between a low spoke on this side and a high spoke on the other wheel. 2 hooks onto the traveller, and 5 and 6 launch the barrel, and 1 and 2 riding across. 2 hooks in on and slips in at the far end. Carriage is stripped of its wheels, 7, 8, 5 and 16 weights. 8 hooks on, and away they go. 5 slips it, and the carriage is then built. 1 and 2 push the wheels on, the barrel's reassembled, and away to the second action. Next across, 14, 16, 18, and a pair of wheels. At the rig, the trainer's going to call out legs, then in legs. Then the Angel 9 removes the wire from the 10 foot. He prepares to go. 18 shouts go. And as he lands, the whole rig collapses. And 18 and 9 run down with the wire, making sure nothing's left in the chasm. 2 and 7 complete the firing. Waiting for the run back. Go! 15 and 11 push 1 through the drag rope. He throws it into position. 14 and 16 bolt valve wheels through. 15 and 11 take them and wait for limber. The limber follows to the sides, picked up, put into position and the wheels placed on. 15 and 11 attach the drag rope to the axles and the pins are inserted by 3 and 4. He puts the breech spike into the barrel and 3 and 4 box the gun to the hole. 5 and 6 on the back, 9 and 13 helps support the weight unit. Wheels off, barrel turned by 8 on the far side, the wheels then fed through, and the same wheels go back on the gun. The gun's then buttoned up to the limber by 1 and 2, and the crew take up any position they can on the rope, and everyone pulls like 10 on the drag rope over the line. And that's the end of the field gun run. Easy, innit?
Elscourt's a very different environment. Down here we know what's going on, we know our environment, we know all our friends are watching, and it's nice, fresh air. You can get out and do your stuff. At Earlscourt, you're in front of a large crowd, indoors, it's hot and sticky, and I understand that guys are under a great deal of pressure. But also, of course, remember, first time running against a crew that are really putting them under pressure.
Well, they live on the first floor in prefabricated section. They are sectioned up from the other 2 commands, so you've got a section for Air Arms, section for Devonport, a section for Portsmouth. They use a communal shower area and communal sink and WC areas. The actual accommodation, the standard of it is really dependent upon themselves. All they've got when they get there is 4 basic walls, no roof, and they've got to do something with it. They're living there for 3 weeks. Now they can either live in a certain amount of comfort, or they can live, well, it's not living, it's just a matter of coexisting with somebody else up there. What we do is we tend to put a muslin net over the top of the actual accommodation area. And this is to stop any dust that's flying around after the performance is settling down inside them. And we try and take up little niceties like lockers, things like that, so they can actually put their gear in and stow it away and have it nice and tidy. And in some circumstances we have carpets up there.
Well, I'm smiling because of the way that everyone's putting it across. It's true. I mean, the thing is so basic. It's a concrete floor with these wooden partitions around you, and there's a bed. Get on with it, you know. And then we rustle around at field gun down here, trying to steal, beg and borrow, get on of whatever we can to make it comfortable for the blokes. And as he says, when you mention carpet, everybody expects, well, carpet, everybody has a carpet, but a carpet is a real luxury, you know, and to have a locker, as he says, to hang your gear up in, goodness gracious, that's terrific.
I didn't know what to expect to start with. All the lads have said it was prefab buildings, but I couldn't actually picture it. But when you come in, it's just like having a little prefabricated house under a big warehouse roof. It is. You just come in and it's just like an 8-foot wall, square wall you come into. It's like a tent. It is. You think, and then you look around and every bed's about a foot apart. You know, so you're literally living in a tiny square. and it's quite amazing. We've obviously got two messes, and both the same, approximately both the same size, and you have like a mess square in the middle where you stow all the weights and you do your gaiters and that. And we have, for the B crew, we only have 2 lockers or 2 wardrobes and 4 lockers to put all our clothes and track gear in, which is quite tight a lot of the time, you know. There's not a lot of space at all.
Quite a unique situation, mate. Obviously they don't want Johnny Jack or anybody else mincing around with his towel around his waist and his bundle of goods in his hand with his toothbrush and the rest of it. But Johnny Jack has got a function in life. He's got to go here and there, and the shower's over there. He's got to get there somehow. You can't expect him to go to this shower or bathroom, which is flooded because the last 100 sailors or soldiers have used it and they've splashed their water everywhere. It's flooded with dirty wash water. He's got nowhere to hang his gear up in there, so he's not going to go in his civvies and take them off, throw them on the floor and then get them back on again. So he goes and try to not embarrass the public by saying, don't do this at certain times. It comes out all right. There's one or two people get offended a year, and it's not bad, really.
First 2 nights, I thought I could put up with quite a lot of things noise-wise to sleep. But as soon as I got here, I couldn't sleep at all for the first 2 nights because of the noise. Because you've got to be in bed obviously by midnight. But even then, the hustle and bustle, and especially if you're trying to get to a half an hour kip during the afternoon when the performances are going, it's phenomenal, the noise. But you get used to it after a while. Well, it's a combination of all the messes, the bars, especially the bars. You can hear the bars above the rest, man. It's ridiculous.
A crew are that professional. They eat, train, sleep, do their washing and doving, and back in bed again for 12 o'clock. And that's it. They don't get a lot of time to mingle and mix, and they don't want to anyway, because their mind is cast completely on this outrageous competition that's taking place. But the B crew lads do get a bit of time to themselves, or they're working in and around Earls Court, so they will meet other people on other stands, other units from other services. And the rapport that's normally built up between the B crew lads or the field gun people who are not in the A crew, the staff, etc., is normally very, very good. And we enjoy being invited to have a drink with them, and they are always welcome to come into our mess and have a drink into our bar up there. Generally speaking, it's very important to have that dovetailing amongst the other services where you can ask them a favour, as they might ask you one. We're forever begging off everybody because we need so much to keep our lads comfortable and happy.
The stands on the ground floor are just obstacles between me and the open air.
Well, first thing in the morning, they've got a practice period. So they get up very early in the morning. A couple of guys rush away and get some tea and toast organised. They muster all down below by the side of the arena, ready to go on the track and work. Get their equipment ready and prepared. And then, as soon as the horses are finished, we go in there, we dodge amongst the horse manure and rig the arena ready for a practice period.
What we do, like I said, we do up to 8 inches a day. That's in and out, so that's quite a lot a day. That's obviously two for the public performances and 2 for the practice periods. We do 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, depending when you're running, in the morning or afternoon. That's basically B Crew's assignment once they've done the Copenhagen Cup runs early in the competition.
A crew are treated very professionally, and as they are the guys who have to run and compete every day and train every morning or afternoon, and the draw on their adrenaline during the day is quite tiring, so they're treated a little bit professionally and they're allowed to rest a bit and not do a lot. Whilst the B crew have to maintain the functions of the remainder of what's going on around field gun, because it could happen any moment, and any one of those could be suddenly worked out, put your broom down, you're in the arena. So from 10 o'clock, they would run off in their PT gear to any one of many venues that the PDR would have selected, such as Holland Park or Hyde Park, or we went to Buckingham Palace one morning and sang God Save the Queen, and I'm sure she appreciated that. I know the American tourists did. And then on other occasions, we will take them for a cup of tea in St James's Park, which is almost a phenomenal sight for the tourists. They love to see all these blokes dressed in green shorts and green vests, sitting there eating sticky buns and cups of tea in the sunshine with the ducks quacking around their ankles. And they love it too, and then they left their own devices to get back to us court. And the object exercise, he's a professional guy, so he's not going to waste that time. He's going to use it as much as he can just to keep that bit of fitness going that they've got. At the same time as he doesn't want to wear them out because they're going to have to compete. At the same time as he wants to get them out of Earl's Court, in amongst the ordinary people, see some sights, do something different, and back again, having refreshed them and played a bit on their humour. Then go off, get changed ready for the performance in the afternoon. After the afternoon performance, it's get changed straight away into practice gear, and they go in the arena then for another practice period, ready for the evening performance. They then go back, bath and doby, relax again, but in a very, very short period of time after that, they're getting changed ready for the 7:30 performance when they're back in the arena again. And that all finishes, they'll be finished completely at just after 10 o'clock in the evening. And they rush like mad then to try and get ashore for a couple of beers amongst the civilians as opposed to their own bar within Earl's Court, which is all noise, all bang bang, all music and rattling and cussing, who knows what. So they like to get ashore where they can experience the same noises down the Earl's Court Road. A great deal of apprehension before you go in that arena. The rubbing of sweaty hands, the lump in the throat, the shaking, even the welling up of a tearful feeling of an emotional sort of anxiety. It's a lovely feeling actually, because it stirs up inside you things which you don't get to feel very often in your life. And then the doors open and it all happens, you brace up. The lads, you can feel the temperature from the lads.
And the doors open and the spotlights come on you, and all of a sudden you feel about 10 foot tall. And you march in there and you'll hear the crowds, and you'll maybe have a quick glance around the crowds, but you feel like you're the most important person in the world.
Marching out arena, the back of your hair stands on the back end and it stands out, and you're marching there, you feel proud as a punch.
It's like, I thought the public runs were good back at Davis, but this is, the atmosphere is fantastic when you're out there, it really is.
Don't stop shaking though, whatever you do. And then it's burning, 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 and away we go.
And then you just can't remember anything. You don't hear nothing. You don't hear the crowd. You hear your orders. You feel, you know what you're doing, but there's nothing else around you. You're totally committed to one object, and that is to run. You get the awareness, bang, 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 and then you look around and say, Maria, look at the time, what time is it? And you look at what time you've done your run out in. You feel yourself you've done a good one, or something goes wrong, you're aggressive again, and then run back is exactly the same. Your line's back there again, and it's pushing you on. Field gun is full of high and lows, but it's all highs at Earl's Court when you run in front of that public. It's all highs. But you cannot let your mind wander away from your job, because you just need a split-second distraction, and you might not have trapped something, or you might have trapped something, i.e. your hand or something like that. You might not have slipped something. There is at certain stages during each individual's run that he can relax a little bit, and then he becomes a little bit more aware of what's around him.
Field gun provides, for many people, many different things. For the spectator, it provides an exciting, demanding, courageous event. For the people actually taking part, who are involved in it, it provides a means for a group of men, a large group of men, to become involved in a team unit of which there is no comparison throughout the world. It's a wonderful thing to be involved with, to be part of. With all its trials and tribulations, its hard times, its good times, there is nothing, I think, that can compete with it.
The season ends with a parade of trophies back at HMS Daedalus. During the competition, all of the men involved will have participated in a great spectacle for the public. But much more than that, they have undergone a form of character and leadership training that cannot be bettered anywhere in the world. And they return to the fleet richly rewarded by their experiences and able to pass this invaluable knowledge on to others.